Hello everybody, and welcome to this next video, which looks at a bit more around performance. So hopefully you've checked out the relevant section for your particular year group with regards to the theme that you're going to be looking at. So this video is a bit more about the page, the stage, the performance side of the project. Yeah, hopefully you got the pack. Page 7, this is essentially just talking a bit about the page, you know, getting kids writing. We've already looked at some of those ideas and activities around that, getting kids to produce the material. And so coming onto page 8, it's more about the stage, the performance. What is a poetry slam?
Also rolls into page 10 as well.
Yeah, so if we quickly look at the idea around poetry slam, basically it's just an event that you might have at the end of the school day or at the end of a week, or a preset determined amount of time where everyone's had, all the different classes or groups have had time to practice their performances, and the actual poetry slam would just be the showcase event of those performances.
It's a gimmick, isn't it really? It's a gimmick to try and make poetry a little bit more fun and engaging and competitive.
A bit like X Factor,
yeah.
To some extent. But though, yes, you know, plenty of talent has been discovered, and no performance related showcase event would be complete without judges. So it's an opportunity to amp up the gimmicky hype of the event by perhaps selecting some well-known members of your school community.
Deputy heads, governors, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, we've had Lord Mayors and all sorts of
councillors, local police officers, local police officers.
For sure. So it's a great way to open the school gates and invite people in that can add value to the event.
It's a great event to get the press involved with as well. I know lots of schools that I work with have good ties with their local newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
They all love a good photograph, you know, so it's a great event. Like your school talking about cultural values and so on and so forth. It's a great event to get the press involved for some good exposure and publicity for your school. Absolutely.
So we have a judges score sheet here, so you might want to photocopy a few of those out. You might have 3 judges, 4 judges. Normally it's around 3, isn't it, that we kind of have.
Judges, yeah.
But there's no hard and fast rules about that.
Also as well, because this is something I get people ask very often, what do you score it out of? So a lot of people do out of 10 for the poetry, which is the written word, how good their writing is, if there's any similes or personification or whatever it is, however good their written vocabulary is, and then people do out of 10 for performance. But I'm terrible at giving 0.5s because lots of them have been working with us and they get similar ideas, and some of the poems can be so tight that you might have scored one person at 8 and another team or class a 7, and the next team was definitely more than the 7, but they wasn't quite the 8. So what I started to do now is score out of 100, and that obviously eradicates the 0.5. So you give 70, you give 80, and then the people in the middle would be 75. So that's it's again completely up to you. You can either score out of 10 for both, so it'll be a total of out of 20, or for 100 for both, so a total for out of 200.
Mm-hmm. And getting the kids to think about the impact of their writing is also a good way of winning your competition. So the competitive side drives the need for a bit more effort on a class by class basis, so or team by team basis. So one of the things that Dreadlock Alien often encourages children to think about when they're writing is to make the listener either laugh, cry, or learn. So from the judge's perspective, if you're doing any of those 3 things, those are the things you might want to be trying to reward a bit more. So making writing very apt, very I don't know, kind of on the button, hitting the meaning, hitting the emotion. That's the sort of, are those words doing that for you? So getting children to think about the impact, thinking about the audience, again, another curricular outcome, especially as young people progress through schools, with AQA or GCSEs, they have to think about, why did the writer select that particular word? Well, this is part of preparing them for that later on in life, and that aspect of education as well. So there's the marking on the actual writing, and then the fun part, I think, for many young people is the performance side. How do we lift these words off the page for the stage? And as Matt's already highlighted, so page 9, it's completely littered with lots of suggestions. Some of the good practice that we've seen over the decades we've been doing this, like in the intro video, 30 years collective experience working in schools, getting young people to write and feel enthralled by writing, and then having the opportunity to express that writing in the best way that they can convey. So art.
Oh yeah, I would say we're assuming that you have the pack in front of you now, so you can see it, turn to page 9 and see it. But if not, and you're thinking, how do we make our performance better? Just a few ideas you could use. You could have a chorus, which could be spoken, or a sung melody, and that's a really good idea to start and end your piece, because sometimes if you ever have a bit of a pause, or if one of the children forgets that it's their turn to talk or something, the children in the audience can just start clapping, thinking it's the end of the piece, and then the class kind of go,
it's an awkward moment, slightly
and they can turn and walk off, and it kind of ruins the piece. Whereas if they know that it's going to start and end with the chorus, the audience knows not to clap until they hear the chorus again at the end of the performance and stuff like that. Kurly was just talking about the boots and cats, the beatboxing, or just a stomp and clap rhythm, boom, boom, it's that sort of thing. We spoke briefly in some of the videos about writing to a 4 beat, but it might be that you've written to that beat instead, so you can fit the words to the "We Will Rock You" type of theme and rhythm. Something like projecting a voice, so that may sound really obvious, but even if your school is lucky enough to be using a microphone, one thing that we always say to children is that a microphone doesn't make you loud, just makes you louder. So there's no good going up to a microphone and whispering into it thinking everyone's going to hear what I'm saying because I've got a microphone. You have to talk and project as though the microphone isn't there, and then everyone will hear you perfectly because the microphone is there. Also, from a judging perspective, I've judged numerous amounts of school poetry slams, and there is nothing more difficult than trying to judge someone on words that you can't hear. You've done some amazing pieces of work, so it's important that those words come across. I said maybe plan a line or two of audience interaction. You may keep a couple of people sat down and they're going to shout something from the audience early on before getting up and joining the stage and the group piece later on. This is one that I like just flicking through as well. Different accents or languages often strengthen a performance. So I've got a thing for accents. I work all over the country, and the things that young people can make rhyme, the words that young people can make rhyme in their accent would never rhyme in my accent, and vice versa. So accents are a great way to make something personal and unique to a specific person, group or place. Equally the same as languages. I often work with people that can speak Punjabi or Polish or whatever it may be, and I say to them, can you speak in Polish? And they say yeah. I say, well, that line, let's say they've got 4 lines, I say, could you do the 3rd line in Polish? And it's sort of like, really? Because at school everything's English, got to be English, and we understand completely why, but this is something that can incorporate and can include their background, their heritage, and make them feel a little bit more accepted within a group performance. We're talking about cultural values at the end of the day, so having people with different cultures talk bits in English and bits in their language, even if it's just words, it's a beautiful thing.
It really does add another dimension to a performance in terms of making it more enriching, and gives it much more texture in that regard as well. So I think the important thing though to consider as you are working on the performance is try and be as encouraging as you possibly can. Always keep praising. Try being a bit experimental. Be brave. Take a few risks. Obviously, not with the health and the well-being of the children, but in terms of letting them have a little bit more free reign to explore an idea and how they might perform. We know time is obviously a rarity in the classroom, but if you can allow some time for the kids to explore their creative ventures in trying to make their piece as good as they can possibly make it for the performance showcase, I think that's an important part. But yeah, still might be mindful of the time though, making sure that you are letting the children know how much time they actually do have as it gradually dwindles away in terms of the time they have to practice, because sometimes kids just need that reminder, that prompt just to stay on task, and just rather than obviously doing that in a negative way, a constructive way of doing that is just letting them know how much time they've actually got in terms of as it gradually goes away. Okay, so you've got 20 minutes left. Start getting a bit more of the ideas together, start fleshing out, and then when you got down to 10 minutes left, kids, keep pushing, keep doing, keep focusing, so just try and be as positive as you can, but at the same time just letting them know how much time actually they have got as time starts.
And my final bit of advice for a performance before this video comes to an end would be, I always say to people, when they're reading it, obviously you can always hear yourself talking. If it sounds too slow in your head and to your ears, it's probably just right for everybody else. So there are times where you can think you're being a little rapper and you're going through and you think you've got rhythm to it, and you come to watching it back, and what you really find is that you've rushed through it and you didn't even really understand what you say, never mind the people that are the 7, 8, 9-year-olds that are sat in the audience as well. So we've talked about rhythm, but rhythm doesn't have to mean massive amounts of tempo necessarily. So you can keep a 4-beat rhythm. 4-beat rhythm runs through virtually every song. It's the tempo of the song that changes. The 4-beat is the same. So you can keep that 4-beat rhythm that we've talked about, but make sure that the tempo of it is concise and understandable for everyone. This isn't about getting on and off the stage quickly so that the next class or the next year group can come up to perform. Those couple of minutes or whatever it is that you're on the stage is about you, and that's your time to shine. So you don't need to rush through it. Be concise. You don't want to make it go on longer than what it has to, but do not rush through it. Speak clearly, speak slowly, still with the rhythm to your voice. And for me, that's a massive thing again, because from a judging perspective, so much easier to judge when you can hear and understand every word that's coming out of their mouth than someone that's just trying to whiz through it and get through it really quick. So make sure that that's something that you put some emphasis on as well. Other than that, you've got the pack in front of you. If you haven't, get ordering, and we'll see you soon.
Take care. Any questions, of course, let us know and we'll be in touch. We're here to help. Thanks for listening. Bye for now. All the best.